What's up, everybody? Okay, so that song you just heard that I've been using for my streams forever. It's called this Stream Tag is what I called it. That's actually off one of the albums we're going to hear today. Close that up. All right. So I don't know how loud my microphone is right now. It might be a little too loud, but I got it way too low in the last one. So if you watched part one, which nobody did, I went over the first two full-length albums for first two EPs of Fog Warrior. We played them. I went over the stories behind them and whatnot. Um, this first one we're going to do today, we're going to pick up where we left off. We've got three full lengths and one EP to go through. This first one, Whilst Rooted in Obscurity, which you'll see right now. So this is my Bandcamp page. You'll see up here, JonathanEvilBandcamp.com. This is, I went over all the other projects like Somtomb, Amamutem Cag, Zligor, E-Trig, and Darkchild Stormbringer that are on here. They're all me, except for Zligor. Zligor is me on guitar, bass, and I wrote the lyrics, and then Dosrith, my nephew, is on drums, keyboards, and vocals. So we did Sun Conquered by Fog Warrior. We did Symphony of Forgotten Souls by Fog Warrior. We did Motionless Nothingness, and we did Woods of Suicides. Actually, we did five. We did Painful Exit from a Beautiful Life. So we did two full lengths. Oh no, we didn't do Symphony of Forgotten Souls. That's the single. So we did two full lengths and two EPs. And we skipped Symphony of the Forgotten Souls single. It's 25 minutes long because it's on Motionless Nothingness. So this was put out, I think, before this was put out. So the one we're going to pick up on today is Whilst Rooted in Obscurity, which has a lot to talk about. So one thing I didn't say was where I came up with the name Fog Warrior. It was just a coincidence that the first album was actually The Sun in Fog, and then you'll notice that there's fog also in The Painful Exit of Beautiful Life. There's fog on the Symphony of Forgotten Souls cover. And then these three covers are all AI generated. So there's some fog in them, but it's not on purpose. So the name Fog Warrior is a name I came up with a long time ago, years ago, for I was playing a video game and I made a character. And I named him Fog Warrior because where I lived in Visalia, California, we get what's called the Thule fog. And the Thule fog is very, very thick fog. I live in Crescent City, California, which is the top left corner of the state of California in America, and we get fog up here a lot, but it's nothing like Thule fog. Thule fog is thick. So I just made a character named Fog Warrior that day, and then that name has just kind of stuck with me. And when I was looking to come up with a name for my project, I wanted something that would be obscure, I guess, and not something that would sound um, like I was trying too hard to fit into a genre. It was just Fog Warrior. We'll just use that one. It was Fog Warrior. So, and then I did the logo. I drew the logo. So we went over those two albums and two EPs. We're going to start today with Whilst Rooted in Obscurity. And one thing I can say on this, you'll see on here, cover artwork rooted by Juha Vorma, which I will show you now. Let's see. Let me change this to the picture. So this, apart from, oh, you can't see my mouse. So apart from the logo in the top left corner and down below where it says Whilst Rooted in Obscurity, everything else on that is the picture by Juha Vorma. So here's the history of this album. So I had recorded and released Painful Exit from a Beautiful Life. That was released in February of 2019. I didn't have enough stuff to do a full album, and so I decided to take what I had and just do it as an EP and do it as a painful exit from Beautiful Life. Whilst Rooted in Obscurity was not what the album was called originally. It was originally called The Shores Upon Which You May Never Return, which was, and I will show you this fast little edit I made for a cover for that one. That would be this one. That's what it was going to look like. Really crappy. It looks like photocopied, and it's not album. It's not square. So that's what it was going to be called. And then after I had released A Painful Exit from A Beautiful Life, I got an email from somebody asking, do you have any physical copies of your music? To which I have physical copies for Evil Trismegistus. I had, in 2006, I made 50 CDs, professional CDs, just to try it out and see if that company would work. But I didn't, and I was going to be sustaining, and you can hear about that in the last video. This one, this is what I was working on, and it was just going to be another Bandcamp release. And that's a picture here in Crescent City that I just messed with the coloring on and put the logo in the top left corner. And actually on the Facebook page for Fog Warrior, this is on there because there's some music that I uploaded onto the Facebook page, and this is the cover on the video that's on the page. So this was what it was going to be till I got an email from somebody asking if I had any physical copies of my CD. Now, this is in the middle of my marriage. I'm living in Exeter, California at the time. I'm off work because I was doing traffic control, so I would be working from like March until maybe October at the latest. So this was in February, January, February. It had to be after February because I had just released A Painful Exit from Beautiful Life. So it was February, March, and somebody sent an email asking if I had physical copies. And I didn't. And I thought, well, maybe I could just burn some CDRs for people. And then my wife said, why don't you just make physical copies? Why don't you just do it like a regular CD? And I told her, because back at the time, the last time I had looked to do CDs, back when I did them in 2006, it was about $1,600 to make three professionally made CDs. To get 1,000 of them was $1,600. And I told her, do we have the money to make that kind of investment right now? And this album release is 100% due to my wife. Well, I can't say my wife anymore. My soon-to-be ex-wife. So my soon-to-be ex-wife, her nickname is Sunny. So we'll just call her Sunny from now on. That's my soon-to-be ex-wife. Like I said, don't feel sorry for me. I'm the reason we're getting divorced. So Sunny told me, well, if you think, you can, we can do it. We can make it happen if you really want to make it happen. And so I thought, well, if we're going to do that, then I'm going to get another cover from Juha Vorma out of Finland, because I have 3 of his on stuff that I have not released, which is, now that I think about it, is kind of an insult to Juha because 3 of his things are just sitting. Matter of fact, the background on my Bandcamp is a zoom in of one of his paintings. We'll go into that later. So that's when I sent him a message, because Juha's on, and I'm not sure if I'm saying his name right. Juha Vorma. He's from Finland. He's done lots of album covers. He's got his own cartoon in Finland. He's just amazingly talented. Um, he he's on my Facebook. I mean, when I had my birthday here recently in March, he sent me a happy birthday, and I was like, wow, a world-renowned artist wished me a happy birthday. I feel so awesome. So I sent him a message and said, hey, do you have any cover art for sale? Because the 3 I got are not going to work for the idea that I have. And he said, yeah, here's the page. Tell me what you want. And so, of course, everything I saw, I wanted. None of it would have worked for The Shores Upon Which You May Never Return. Nothing fit that. I could use that, but then the cover wouldn't work with it. And then I saw what you see on the screen right now. I saw that picture. It's called Rooted that he did. And I was like, I need that. That's the one. I will make that work. And as soon as I saw it, what popped into my head is what you see down here. Whilst rooted in obscurity. Because nobody knows who I am. I've sold like one album in my lifetime. So I contacted him and I said, okay, I want this one. So I sent him the payment. And what was funny was the first three covers I bought from him were in the late 90s, I think. And the price that it was for those was exactly the same as the price it was for this one in 2019. So that shocked me. I thought it was going to be more than it was, but so, and then part of it, and this is the part that really bugs me, part of it was he said, when you put the CD out, send me 2 copies. And I was like, sure, no problem. But then when the CD came out, he lives in Finland. I live in America. I was living in Exeter at the time, so I went to Visalia, California, which is about 140,000 people. And I went to the UPS place there and I said, hey, I need to ship these 2 CDs to Finland. And the lady gave me a look like, are you serious? And I was like, okay, what was that look for? And then she goes, okay, and she's doing all the stuff and she goes, all right, to send these 2 CDs, it will cost you $200. And I was like, what? $200 to send 2 CDs to Finland? And she goes, it's not on our end, it's on Finland's end. They're the ones that are making it so expensive. So I was like, forget it. Nope, never mind. But I went across the road to the FedEx store and I asked them the same thing. How much would it cost to send these 2 CDs to Finland? And they said it would be $180. So I was like, okay, forget it. And I went back home and I sent a message to Yuha on Facebook and I was like, do you know that it costs $200 to send 2 CDs to Finland? And he goes, I've never heard that before. And I was like, I don't think I can afford that. And then he said, well, it's not a big deal. I'll just order one from Via Nocturna. And I was like, I feel bad that you're having to do that, but I can't. $200 for 2 CDs, that is just nuts. So, so after I had ordered the cover that you're looking at right now, everything that you see on there was the cover except for the logo in the top left corner and the words on the bottom right. Everything else Yuha had done. So I ordered the cover and I changed the name of the album to Whilst Rooted in Obscurity. And I already had most of the songs written because when you go to the page on Bandcamp, and down at the bottom it says recorded in 2018/2019. So I started going to very small record companies. Mainly, I think I went to the Atmospheric Black Metal channel on YouTube, and I just started looking at what record labels were putting out that music. And I started sending out emails requesting if anybody was looking for if I could, get a deal with anybody. And all of them were saying the same thing. We're not taking any new bands at this time. We're not taking any new bands at this time. I think that was their nice way of saying, you suck, we don't want this on our record label. So I got a hold of a company called Via Nocturna out of Poland. I don't think I have a picture of the label with that on it. Yeah, because everything's in Adobe Photoshop. Let me see. Well, everything I sent them didn't have their stuff on it because they put it on there. So they're a record company, but I don't know if they have bands that they have on their actual record company. But what they said was, we're not looking to sign anybody, but if you put out the CD, we will distribute it for you. And I was like, well, I don't know where to get the CDs made or anything. And they were like, well, I tell you what, we'll charge you how much it costs to make the CDs. We'll put it on our webpage. Which is advertised around the world, even though they're a small little record label. Um, and we will do a run of 500. And then for 2 years, we will push the band. We will push it on our webpage and through all the stuff we do around the world. And then after 2 years, then it's back to you and you can do whatever you want. I thought that meant they would have the rights to the album for 2 years, but that's not what they meant. After the 2 years were up, I had sent a message to the owner and I was like, "Hey, that's thanks for everything you guys did. I don't know how many sold. You don't even have to tell me because I doubt any sold." And I was like, "But I now have the rights back to the album, right?" And he goes, "What are you talking about? You always had the rights to the album. What we signed was just you allowed us to distribute it around the world." And then they put their names on it. So the actual CD has Via Nocturna on the back and whatnot. So the deal with them was I sent them the money to make the CD, and I took and did the entire booklet and whatnot. So when you look at the CD, the cover is by you while you're looking at the cover. The logo is by me. The Whilst Radiated Obscurity was put on there by me. The layout of the cover is by me, but the actual picture is Juha Vorma. I will give him credit for the rest of my life because he is such an amazing artist. Everything inside the booklet is taken off of this picture. The CD cover, the actual CD has this on it. The I did everything. I recorded all the music. I mixed all the music. I bought the cover and then formatted the cover and then formatted the booklet and formatted the CD and formatted the tray and formatted the back cover. So the only thing on this album that I didn't do is that cover. And I'm glad I got it from Yuha because that is a badass cover. That's actually the wallpaper on my computer that I'm using right now. So so I got everything ready to go. The music was already recorded and ready to go. And if you watched the last video, I was talking about how hard it was to do vocals back then because I needed to be alone in the house. And it was not easy to be alone in that house because we always had people over. But the album was recorded and ready to go right after the painful, shit, I forgot the name of my own album. Painful Exit from a Beautiful Life was released. So, but I had to go do my work. So I sent them stuff. I think it was I think I was 2 months into working that season, holding traffic for road construction. And they sent me back an email saying, okay, this will be released in September. And I was like, awesome. So I waited until September. They put out one of the songs off of here, called the song called Blood of God. Um, they released that on YouTube as a video, just with the cover. I think it was just a cover. I'd have to go back and look. But Via Nocturna and all that stuff on it. Um, and I think out of however many views it got, I think 90% of them, 98% of them were me. There was only one other person I know of that saw it because they put a comment on it in a foreign language that had the name Danny Filth in it. And I was like, my vocals are nothing like Danny Filth. So thanks, but that's incorrect. Um, I'm doing it again. I'm doing the thing. Gotta stop that. So September was the date it was coming out. September came, nothing came out. Emailed via Nocturna, hey, what happened? Oh, we had to push it back. It'll be out in October. I was like, oh, it'd be awesome if it's October 30th because that was my wedding anniversary. October comes, goes, nothing. So I sent them another message. Hey, what's going on with the release? And they're like, oh, we had to push it back again. It'll be out soon. So November goes and nothing comes. And then December starts. I sent them another message. Is it going to come out this year, you think? And they're like, yeah, it'll be out soon. And then I think it was December 9th or somewhere around December 9th. Oh, I actually have it in front of me. Oh, no, it just says released in December 2019. Oh, December 14th. So it was released December 14th, 2019, to resounding sales of none. I don't know how much actually sold with Via Nocturna, but out of the 200 copies that I had, what is that, 2 feet away from me by the Evil Trimegistus CDs I was just talking about, I have a giant box with 198 of the 200 CDs of this album. One of them I took out to play in my car so I could test it and see how it sounded. and then one of them I traded to another artist. We traded straight across one CD for one CD. And I think he got the short end of the deal because his CD was awesome. So if we get back to my Bandcamp page, so if you look on here, I have pictures of the actual physical CD. There's the CD in its wrap, shrink wrap. There's the back cover. That's another picture of Crescent City. And then that's the inside. There's the CD. Another picture of Crescent City. That's at low tide. You can tell. Look at how many rocks there are. And then that's song lyrics. Written here inside, going upwards. If I could turn the picture to the right, you can see it's written up going that direction. And then you take the CD out. Right here, there's a small explanation of what that is. That is the word fog fighter, because there's no word for warrior. And Sonny's Native American language of Wakchumni. I asked her what it would be in Wakchumni, and the closest they could get to it is like fog fighter, and that's what that says in Wakchumni. Okay, so like I said, the album was released. I did no PR for it. Via Nocturna had it on the webpage to go around the world. I had a picture of that, but it's not a good picture. I asked them if it sold at all, and they said, yeah, there's a picture. So this was before it was out. So that's it on the Via Nocturna website. Pre-order digital album, only $5 because it was pre-order. I don't think they thought it was any good, but and I think that's the majority of the. I have never looked to see if there was a review ever done on it. I've never looked. If there was, they must have got it from Via Nocturna because I've never sold the album to anybody. So let me get back to where I was. Okay, so on here, this song here, "Blood of God," this was the one they released as like a video. It wasn't a video. It was just released on YouTube with their own screen on it. So on here, I put a little more information on it. Album released 2019 through Via Nocturna label out of Poland, limited to 500 copies worldwide, of which I think none sold. Physical CD, Whilst Rooted in Obscurity album released in December of 2019 through Via Nocturna out of Poland, which was limited to 500 copies worldwide. I'm selling 150 of the ones I have. Am I? I didn't realize I wrote that. Cover artwork is Rooted by Juha Vorma, everything else by me. It includes unlimited streaming of Whilst Rooted in Obscurity via the free Bandcamp app, plus high-quality downloads. Recorded in 2018, 2019, released in December of 2019 as a limited run, 500 copies. How many times am I going to say that? Released December 14th, 2019. So, and like all the other ones, the first song is just an intro with no lyrics. It's just an instrumental. So I'll play that one now, and then I'll be back in 4.5 minutes. So this one is the only one I think I've ever done that has those English horns that sound like foghorns in it. Where in the beginning it does it 3 times, and then the fourth one is actually a half step lower. All the other ones on all the other albums always the same note. So this is the first time I ever dropped a note down. And then you can hear the water in the beginning because I had this written already when the album was still going to be called "The Shores Upon Which You May Never Return." So I just left the water in it. I left the ocean sounds in it because I thought it sounded good. So, so that was the intro. So this next one, I'm going to give you a little bit of insight to how I do stuff. So this one, "Dying in the Sacred Grove of Nerthus," the idea for this song, I was reading about mystery religions from the ancient Greek and Roman times and whatnot, and ancient history, and one of them was talking about Nerthus, the god Nerthus, and how they had a sacred grove. And I thought, wouldn't it be interesting, because obviously they're not there anymore, they're gone, to be there when some tribe, some barbarian tribe or somebody came and took over where these people were, and to see them, in this sacred grove of their god and everything, to see all these people coming in and just obliterating people. So I had no lyrics for this. I stopped writing lyrics a few years ago when I got over 1,000 because I had a massive loss of confidence, which I still suffer from today. So these lyrics, you'll see this massive amount of lyrics here. "And yet here I die. Why am I sinking into an ocean of blood? You were supposed to keep us safe. You were supposed to keep us alive. And yet here I die. This land is sacred, and yet here I die." It took me 2 months to write that. How sad is that? The original idea for this, though, was going to have a lot more lyrics. I was going to go into a lot more detail and whatnot, but I just could not get myself to do it properly. So now the music for this, if you watch the last video in the beginning, I showed the GP5 program. That's guitar tablature to MIDI that I like to write things with. The music for this was originally written for a project I have called Old, OLDE, which my cousin describes as blackened calculus metal, because in it I use some really weird time signatures and I try to write stuff that's more of a challenge for me to actually play it. This one is the easiest one I ever wrote for that. And it was originally called, it had a working title that was called Bleeding Jones. The working titles I did when I was writing stuff on the GP5 program would be whatever was playing on the television when I was doing it. And I was watching my box set of Monty Python, and they were doing the Salad Days sketch where everybody looks like it's Victorian times, and then everybody ends up spurting blood all over and dying. So when I finished writing this track in the GP5 program, because this one was actually 100% written in GP5, the whole song was written. All I had to do was record it in with real guitars and real bass, get it in real vocals, and get it done. I had no vocals yet, but the working title was Bleeding Jones because Terry Jones from Monty Python was spurting blood out of his neck when I stopped writing. And so this one's got a little bit of a bass run in it, but I think when I recorded this, the guitar tone and the mixing I was doing on this one, I recorded before everything else. So this one actually has like a different guitar tone than everything else. And to me, it sounds a lot darker and a little bit muddy because I had already recorded it before I recorded everything else, and it doesn't come out as good. So, but this one's 6 minutes 46 seconds long. There's very few lyrics, and when it starts, you'll hear like some noise in the background, and then you'll hear like a blank space. And I don't know if this will be turned up enough, but I actually say, "And yet here I die," through a VST on my software that makes my voice, it pitch shifts my voice randomly. So my voice goes up and down and all over the place, and it sounds like a tape getting eaten, is what it sounds like. But on the CD, you can barely hear it, so I don't know if you're going to be able to hear it on here, and it's probably going to be kind of quiet because, like I said, this was a different mix than the rest of the album. So here we go. I'll see you in about 6, 7 minutes. I don't know what it is about me and putting quiet stuff at the end of songs, but I do it quite often apparently. So this one here, the next one, that one, like I said, that has different guitar tones. It has a different mix. It has a different mastering on it. That one was finished and was going to be on. It was the only song that I think that was 100% finished when it was still called "Shores Upon Which You May Never Return," other than the vocals. So this one, Glacial Bolus into Hell. Glacial Bolus is, if you study demonology, is one of the demons of hell. But if you go back before that, Glassy Alabolus was a fertility goddess. So um, the lyrics are a little bit out there. I mean, longer. But here's the thing about this one, and also with Lord Destroyer Beneath Outstretched Wings. This here, from Under the Sign of the Crescent Moon to Come to Me, Appear to Me, Come to Me, Come to Me, to here, this is all of Glass Alabolus into Hell, with another chord added down here. And then here's the last one. So this paragraph, well, this chorus, this verse, this chorus, this chorus, this verse, this chorus is Glacial Bolus. This here, dragged screaming into hell, ripped apart from this world, dragged screaming into hell. This was the beginning of another song called Into Hell, and I could never come up with anything else to go with it. So the song Glacial Bolus was finished April 4th, 1996. Drag Screaming into Hell was never finished. It was originally written as Drag Screaming into Hell, Drag Screaming into Hell, Drag Screaming into Hell, Drag Screaming into Hell, ripped apart, ripped away from this world, death, the cold inevitable quest, to die is to be free, believe and follow me, drag screaming into hell, drag screaming into hell. Very redundant, kind of like Blasphemy from Canada's God of War song, where it was just like the words God of War, 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 God of War. So I put them together because this song is what 11 minutes long, and I needed more stuff. And I was like, you know what? Oh, I was never going to finish this one, so why don't I just call it Glass Bolus into Hell and just put them together? That happened down here with Lord Destroyer and Beneath Outstretched Wings. They were two separate songs that I melted together because it fit that way. And if this is the one I'm thinking of, there's clean vocals in this. I apologize for that. Yeah, it's this part right here. You are my blind follower. You pledge eternal. I can see you're false. Would you die for me? I do that in clean vocals. I try to bury them in the mix. But if this is the one I'm thinking of, I don't think it's this one. I think it's Lord Destroyer. It starts with the fretless bass. I don't think it's this one. Well, we'll see. This one's 11 and a half minutes, so I'll be back in 11 and a half minutes. You have no idea how hard it is to make the word inevitable fit right there in that part of the song. That was probably the biggest challenge of this entire track, was making inevitable fit into inevitable. It was so taking a 4-syllable word and trying to make it 2 syllables. And I forgot that I had a lot more clean vocals than that, so that's not good. And then this is not the one with the fretless bass in the beginning, it's Lord Destroyer. So this one, Blood of God, I think I may end up getting a copyright hit on, because this is the one that Via Nocturna put out. So this song was written when I was younger. I was made to go to church with my grandparents, and they were Mormons. And then when I was a teenager, and I kept asking questions and nobody could answer, they finally said I don't have to go anymore. This is about a Mormon family where they believed in blood atonement, which in the Mormon way of doing things, if you go strictly by the way Joseph Smith said do it, blood atonement. You have to pay for your sins, and then the story of this was from like the 1960s. So in 1924, the father's kicked out of the church because he's teaching blood atonement and other stuff. So the church kicks him out. He moved to Mexico. He died. His son took over and was excommunicated by the Mormon church. And then while that's going on, his brother thinks he's doing it wrong. So the brother takes over, renames the church. And then in the 60s, during one summer, the one brother decided that there was a lot of people that had wronged him. And so he went on a murder spree, including his own pregnant daughter, because she got pregnant out of wedlock. So he went around and unlivinged a lot of people. So this song is about that. And originally, it was going to be for my E-Trig project, and it was called Blood of God. And then there was going to be another version called God of Blood, which actually had a break in the middle and had like a speaking part in the background that was going over everything the guy did that summer. But I never got around to it, and then I put it out as Fog Warrior, Not Evil Trismegistus, so I decided I'm not even going to mess with it. So this one, I played this when I was doing my traffic control job. One of the guys I worked with, a guy named Eric, was a guitarist, and he was an insanely good acoustic guitar player. I mean, and I was like, I don't like showing people my music. I'm doing this now in front of a monitor. There's nobody here. But I don't like showing my music to people because a lot of times you just see the cringe on their face. So I let him hear the very beginning of this. It's 3 chords. It just goes dun, 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 dun. So when I wrote it, and when the first time Eric heard it, he goes, "Oh, wow, those are some kind of fast guitars." And I was like, this is a mid-paced one? This isn't one of the faster ones? But the chords, it starts like on, I think it's just a power chord on the 3rd fret, and then it goes up to power chord on the 5th fret, and then for a split second, very Twitch-like, it goes 6/5. So it goes da 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 da. I was sitting in front of the recording setup when I was down with Sonny down in Exeter, and I was just playing those 3 chords, dun, 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 just goofing around with it. And I thought, wait a minute, I wonder how fast I can move my arm on that last little twitch part. So I started playing dun, 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 and then I got it to where I was going dun, 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 to where you can barely tell it moves, but then when you recorded everything, it stands out a little bit more. So like I said, I don't know if this one's going to get a copyright strike because this is the one that Via Nocturna put out and is already on Facebook, but we'll see. It's my song, damn it. I'll see you in 6.5 minutes. Like I stated before, I don't mess around with the ending. It's over, it's over. So, this next one, Lord Destroyer Beneath Outstretched Wings, this one is another one where it's got two different songs that I had. So, this one was, both of them were unfinished. So, this beginning about um, entered my uncertain future, and where is thy Lord, where is thy God, where is thy spirit, where is thy soul? Dead they are and forgotten, my soul has fallen burning and rotten. That is Lord Destroyer. And then the next line, underneath the sky of gray and mountains encased in blue ice, this is the ninth circle, this is hell. Burning in the acidic cold, a feeling of panic overtakes you, losing your mind at a frantic pace, huddle beneath my outstretched wings. That is the entirety of what I wrote for Beneath Outstretched Wings. So this is the one that starts with the fretless bass. It does a slide up and then the song starts. And this one, I like this one a little bit better than some of the other ones. This last one, Magnet, is the one I like the best on this one. It's 17 and a half minutes long, but this one, when I get into it, I'll have to talk about the video I wanted done for it. But all right, so we're going to go Lord Destroyer. So the whole purpose of this one, Lord Destroyer, was again me trying to assert my dominance in the spirit world, I guess you would say, because I'm talking about, the lyrics are, into my uncertain future I did go, and I came upon my soul. Upon my face I wore a mask, and unto my inner self I did ask, where is thy Lord, where is thy God, where is thy Lord, where is thy God? Farther ahead I did go, and yet I could not find my soul. In solid black surrounds I did bask, and unto the void I did ask, where is thy spirit, where is thy soul, where is thy spirit, where is thy soul? Dead they are and forgotten, my soul has fallen burning and rotten. And then the ending is, unto the darkest hell I did step, the Lord Destroyer. So that was me trying to sound as badass as I could sound. So let's see if it worked with the song. So I will see you in, what is that, 9 minutes? Yeah, 9 minutes. So I forgot about the slow part at the end of that. That's pretty cool. It's interesting when I haven't gone back and listened to something in a little bit, and then when I hear it, I'm like, whoa, I forgot about that. All right, this next one is called Magnet. It's 17 and a half minutes long, and that's all the lyrics. So when I was younger and I was in my really bad depressions and all that fun stuff and dealing with my social anxiety, it felt like anytime I started getting happy or feeling like something really good was going to happen, the other shoe would fall, so to say, and something horrible would happen. When I started my underground zine, Festering Vomitous Mass, FVM, I had the $750 saved up to do the first print run, and everything was great. And then I ended up in the hospital, and $750 went to pay my hospital bills, and the magazine never came out. So it's on Facebook. I put some stuff up on Facebook. Um, but that was 1995, 96, 94, 95, 96 was when I was doing that. So, and it just seemed like everything was just horrible. So on this one, you'll see I wrote lyrics by me, and then written sometime in the late 1990s. I don't remember when, but I was having a really bad life at the point. If it was past 97 or 98, then I mean, that's the second time I was with Sonny, and I'd screwed it up faster than ever that time. Um, and I started feeling I wrote this song Magnet because I felt like everything that could be negative was being drawn towards me. So that's what the chorus is: feel the pain flow into me. I can't resist it. I can't fight it. All the pain pulled into me as if I were a magnet. And then the second verse is, oh, it's right there. Feel the pain flowing through me. Why should I fight? How can I resist? All the pain follows me everywhere. I'm the magnet of such a negative feel. It was kind of, I felt like Candlemass did a song called Bearer of Pain about the lady they lock up in the tower, and all the negativity and bad stuff is drawn to her in the tower, and she goes in a pretty maiden, comes out a withered old lady. Um, I kind of felt that way in that I felt like I was a magnet that was drawing all negative shit towards me. I mean, I couldn't see the good stuff. Anytime there was something good, I was always like, what, why, what's happening next? What's going to happen next? I'm still that way to this day, that I go to work every day thinking, okay, I'm going to get fired because I screwed something up yesterday. And that's 24/7. That's how I think 24/7. So the video I had for this one, there's these sounds that are in it that I made sound that they sound, it's it's women singing, soprano. It's not an actual woman. It's on a keyboard. But the video was going to be something. This was the idea I had. I would be in it, but I would have on my hoodie with my hood up over my head so you can't see my face. And I would wake up and I would just, ramble out the door, and I would go to the tallest building in the city. And at the time it was Exeter, so I was going to use Visalia because it's 140,000 people, and just stand there on the roof in my hoodie and just stand there. And then there would be four women dressed like sirens, I guess. And when you hear, because it repeats four times every time, you hear this just musical part, and you hear the women doing the singing, the soprano singing. In the video, I would go up to the top of the building, and then they would show somebody having a really bad day or something's going on. And then when the four parts come with the soprano parts, the first part would come, and the first soprano would start, miming that she's singing that part. And then you would see like this cloud from wherever this person was having a horrible day just start to dissipate and flow up into the air. And then it would come to where the siren was at, and then it would be like absorbed into me, or it would be floating over me. And then since it repeats four times, then after the first time it did it, the next siren would do it, and then more of it would come up. And so it's like they're drawing all the negativity from all these different people in different walks of life that are going on with their lives, and they're drawing it all up, and it's all coming into me. And then their life is getting better because I have all the negativity now. So it was kind of a positive spin in a way, making everybody else's life good by fucking mine up, which is pretty much how I've lived my life. So, uh, but I never did it because who can afford that? And then I thought, you know what, I'm going to make this just a lyric video of this track because it's 17 and a half minutes long. I put it on YouTube and tell anybody who wants to do any kind of animated video to it to go right ahead and just let me see what it is. Just use it, do what you want. We'll see what happens. But I never did that because nobody listens to my music, so what's the point? So this one's going to be 17 minutes and 28 seconds. It's a lot of music and not very much singing. But like I said, just think of the as it's going on. When you hear the soprano parts, that would be them pulling all the negativity out of the city and to me. So that was the video idea. The song was written in a much more desperate sense. I was not doing very well. So here we go, Magnet, back in 17 and a half minutes. That's kind of a hard song for me to listen to, knowing where I was when I wrote it. That is tough. So, that is the only physical copy CD I've ever released. I'm going to take this down because nobody's ever bought one. Nobody's ever seen it. Like I said, I don't do any self advertising. This is uncomfortable for me to do this. But if I don't do it now, I'll never do it. So, that was Lost Rooted in Obscurity. Um, Man, that brings me back a lot of stuff. All right, so let's back it up. So then after that, this Dark Child Stormbringer we're not going to go into. So this is the next Pog Warrior. This is Of Strength and Sadness. And I can tell you this. I released this full album, this EP, and this full album within like 2 or 3 days of each other, as well as this Evil Tremagista single. And apart from the music, I can barely remember anything. Because I did a thing on YouTube where I put up this out all the music to this album and the music to this track without any vocals because I was sitting on them for over it was more than 2 years because I think I wrote these. Let me see if I put on here. Yeah, the music was recorded in 2019, 2020, and I didn't do the vocals until November of 23, and then I released it the day after I did the vocals. The cover to this, there's not a whole lot of stuff written on it because the cover to this is just an AI generated cover. You can see my logo up in the top right corner. Um, I wrote the music to this and the EP and the other album and had it ready to go, and then I was having issues with my anxiety while I was with my wife, and I couldn't get myself to do the vocals. And then when things fell apart in 2021, and I moved up here to Crescent City, I was in a really bad funk, but I could not get myself to do the vocals, and I put out the demo of just this album's music without any lyrics and the EP's music to try and get myself into it to like get myself to do it, but life was just kept kicking me in the balls at that time and I was not able to, even though I was in the best mindset to do these kinds of vocals, I could not get myself to do them. So once I got um, I can't say a little bit more stable because life still sucks ass, but things are doing a little better. I don't want to start talking about like getting my health together and all that kind of stuff because usually that's when somebody says that and then the next day they're dead. So I'm not going to talk about that. I don't want to die anytime soon, although most of my lyrics say that. Um, this track here, as I don't even know how to pronounce it, Escaron. I always called it Escaron. It's about a demon that there was a nun. I don't remember when. It was like 1700s, named Sister Jean. Sister, um, she I can't remember the story. You'll see down here where all the X's are at. These are demon names, and I didn't want to screw up the pronunciation of them because I can't even say Yuhavorma's name right probably. So I just X'd them out. Um, this track though, I like. So this going from the first albums we listened to on the last stream, those were to me those were more atmospheric. They had more experimentation. They had better sounds in them. These are starting to get more and more like fine tuned. I'm getting better at the sound and getting better at the mixing and whatnot. Um, I don't I don't think I've listened to these after I put the lyrics on them and I put them out. So this is kind of me hearing them after I'd released them because I don't come back and listen to this. I'm not I don't have an ego that wants me to hear my music over and over again. So this is kind of like me hearing it for the first time with you guys, even though I did all of this. So I will be back in 6 minutes and 30 seconds. So a lot of the lyrics I've ever written, a lot of stuff for each rig and stuff for this also. I've done a lot of lyrics where I've written, I've gone through mystery religions and occult teachings and stuff like that. And Izikaron is one of those millions of things it seems like I've read about. This one was about a nun who got possessed, and then Gretel and Adam, the weak links, are the ones that were cast out. Then all the other demons went with them, like opening the drain and everything went out. But I have a lot of tracks like that. The first demo I put out for E-Trig back in 1997, that was called, at the time, was called Blacker Than a Burnt Pope because I thought it sounded tough. But then I just renamed it Blacker because it sounded ridiculous. Blacker Than Burnt Pope. Um, it had a song on it called The Priest of Cybele or Kybel, however you pronounce it. And that was another mystery religion. So I just love finding stuff that like mainstream people don't know about, and then making it into music. So you might hear it and then be like, "Oh, I never even knew that." So this one of Strength and Sadness, for some reason on these, I just noticed I don't have the years written on the lyrics. So Strength and Sadness, I think I wrote in the '90s. This is about me feeling. This is like I was saying earlier with Magnet, where it feels like no matter what I do, everything goes wrong. So that's pretty much what this one is. Um, it's me just venting. And with my anxiety, it's easier for me to sit down and write lyrics, or like I'm doing now, talking to a monitor, than it is to actually talk to people. So I would, if I had a hard time with something, I would sit down and write lyrics about it. When I don't even know how many out of the songs I've written are about Sunny. So because it was hard for me to talk to her in the first place, and then she was already with somebody, and then after that, I was just so smitten with her that I couldn't ever talk to her, or when I did, I felt like I was being such a moron, and so I'd write song lyrics about it, and then that's what I've done pretty much my whole life. That's why I have over 1,000 songs written. So this is one of them, and I named the album after this because I just thought that was a cool sounding title of Strength and Sadness. So see you in 12 and a half minutes. Such a happy, uplifting song. Okay. I did not remember that there was clean vocals in the beginning of that. That made me cringe. Okay. This one's called No Hope. Guess what it's about? Um, it's about me, like I said before, getting everything back together and feeling like I'm starting to move everything in a positive way, and then seeing something like this one is seeing somebody. I won't mention their name because I already have. Um, and then being in the middle, just coming out of a depression and seeing this person and just instantly dropping back into that depression because I wasn't with the person anymore. So it's pretty much how that one is. And like I said before, I remember the music to these. I don't remember the lyrics because I figured out the lyrics on the 12th and the 11th and the 12th, and then recorded them on the 11th and the 12th, and then put it out on the 13th. So, oh no, I did all the vocals on the 12th, not even the 11th. So this is like hearing them again and critiquing it to myself, where you guys can't hear it, and doing a lot of, oh, I could have done that different. Oh, I should have done that different. So here's No Hope. The whole purpose, the whole not purpose, but the whole thing that started me writing this song was the tarot card of the hanged fool, or the fool hanging by his ankle. That's where you see right here. There's no hope. Where's that? There's no hope for me alone with just memories. I can't even be wrong right. So full of worthlessness. And one of the lines, I don't know if I left it in here. Right there. There is no hope for one like me. I probably couldn't kill myself right. That's from seeing the tarot card of the guy hanging by his foot. I was like, that would be me trying to hang myself, and somehow I end up just hanging by my foot because I couldn't even do that right. So that's where this comes from. So I will see you in 9 minutes. So, in the middle of that song, No Hope, when I put out the demo on YouTube of just the music with no vocals whatsoever, there's a hiccup in the middle of that song where the video making software I was using, I wasn't using the YouTube stuff, I was making it myself. Um, it wasn't there when I recorded it, but then when it uploaded it to YouTube, it gave it a skip. And so it's like it's listening to the song, and then all of a sudden it just backs up for like a second and then goes on again. So not hearing it is weird now because I'm so used to hearing the demo. This one I just call Hamar. This is another one that I built in GP5, the GP5 tablature to MIDI program. I wrote the entire song in that, just like I did with Dying in the Sacred Grove of Nerthus. Oh, this one's always been called, I don't even know how to pronounce it, Harmontagenia. Um, it's always been called that. It's always, the whole song was written in that program, and then I just moved everything over and then played everything live except for the drums, which are programmed, obviously. But this one was completely done that, and the lyrics to this are from a long time ago. So this is one of the ones that was completely written, and all I had to do was just play it and record it. So I will be back in, what is that, 8 minutes? So this next one, I Am Broken. This song was originally called Broken Cross because I used to wear, when I was going to the Mormon church, I never wore a cross. And then when I got out of the Mormon church and I went the opposite direction and I became a theoretical Satanist, would wear an inverted cross. And the first one I would wear actually broke years later after I stopped wearing it. So, so in case you didn't know, well, you probably haven't because I haven't done the podcast yet. I was brought up in a Mormon family, and I had to go to church every Sunday until I was a teenager. And then they stopped making me go, and I got mixed up with a bunch of people who were quote unquote Satanists. And I started getting more into that and became a theoretical Satanist, not a practicing Satanist. Because practicing Satanists are the guys that follow Anton LaVey and dress up in little devil outfits and all that bullshit, and do everything to the opposite of the church. Mine was more theoretical. It was like I had questions about stuff when I was in the Mormon religion, and I never got the answers. And in theoretical Satanism, that when I would bring up these same questions, they would be like, "Well, let's figure it out." So it was more scientific to me. And then I got out of that when I was 19 because the people that I thought were knowledgeable got everything they knew from comic books, movies, and records. So I went off to do my own thing. And then when I was with Sonny the first time, I had kind of my eureka moment where I figured everything out, and then I just kind of stayed away from religion. So a lot of the stuff that I do that's based on occult and all that kind of fun stuff was because it just fascinates me that we came up with all this stuff. So you'll see in the last song, Life Union, what I mean by that. So I Am Broken was written about, it was like an introspective thing I wrote about my broken cross, and it was me trying to get myself back on my feet again. And you'll see it says focus on my forward path, regain all that was lost, focus on my forward path, focus on my broken cross. But the big thing about this song, it's 12 minutes and 12 and a half minutes long. If you've seen any of my streams, this is the intro to my stream. It has the basses singing just one note, the do, and then it goes into the. So this whole song is built around three chords. Because when I was writing it, I was living down south with Sonny. I was sitting in front of the computer, and I was having a lot of anxiety because I was afraid I was going to get called in to go to work and have to be somewhere 6 hours away from home again. And I played the beginning, and I threw them on the GP5 program to see where it was. And then I thought, you know what? Screw this. I'm just going to use these notes, and I'm just going to find different patterns to play these notes. So it's three chords, and then it's me playing different patterns of these three chords. I don't think I added anything else. There might be a fourth chord in there somewhere, but the majority of this is just three chords playing in different patterns. And I wanted it to sound like the older black metal that was more less hyper picking and more rock and rolly sounding, I guess you would say, with the drums not being as fast. So that's why you hear the drums just playing a dun, snare, bass, snare, bass, snare, bass, snare. It was me trying to get back to the early stuff that I don't usually write like, because I have this kind of quandary, I guess you could say, where I write what my brain pukes out and I just do it that way. But I never feel like it's ever good enough. And I never feel like what I do is good enough. So when I write something like this, I just did it because I wanted to do it. And when you write music, you have that option. You can do whatever you want. Um, I could throw my cousin's dog in a blender and call it music. That'd probably get me kicked out of the house. But I do the hyperpicking because to me, that makes me feel like I'm actually doing something. When I listen to stuff like Black Sabbath, and it's phenomenally popular all over the world, I can't play that slow. It's hard for me to play that slow because I feel like I should be doing something here I should be doing something here. And in a lot of the stuff you'll hear, I have the way I record these, all these Fog Warriors and everything else I record. Well, not everything. I have two guitars going. One will be 40% to the left, one will be 40% to the right. I did my hands backwards when I was saying that. I pushed the wrong sides. Anyway, um, and I try to make them not just do the same thing. I have certain E-Trig songs where I do a lot of just two guitars playing the exact same thing, and to me, it's pointless. It's like, why? It's just making the sound wider, but it's pointless. Just have them do something that plays off each other. So writing a song like this is not normal for me, and it actually came out sounding really good. So you'll hear what is the beginning of all my streams, but this time you'll hear it with vocals over it, and you'll hear the whole 12 and a half minutes of it. So let me shut up and play some music here. So one of the things about that track is when it's just doing the three chords. There's parts in the song where I swear to God, which is a saying because I don't actually swear to God, um, where I can hear a third guitar line, a third harmony over the top that goes dun 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 dun, and it just fades in with the rest of it. I heard it like four times when I was just listening to that. And it's weird because once the first time I heard it, because I didn't write anything like that, it's just the way the harmony came out. But the first time I heard it, now I hear it every time I listen to that track. Okay, so Life Union. This is about a priest. I don't think I put his name on here. Back in the 1800s, that was truly nuts. He had a pentagram tattooed at the corner of his left eye. Oh, I did have his name, Jean Antoine Boulin. Um, specializing his nuns possessed by spirits unclean must be purified by consecrated hosts mixed with feces, infant sacrifice, high point of mass. He sacrificed his own child at the high point of mass, teaching nuns to enjoy sexual intercourse with his astral body and to hypnotize themselves to think they were having sex with Christ. This is an actual priest. So there you go with that one. And I don't. Oh, and then on I am. What was the other one? Was it I am broken? Oh, there was something I was just listening to part of it, and I was like, oh, I forgot all about that part. And I do think I am broken. It mainly based around those three chords, but I think there was five chords I used. But don't quote me. I'd have to go back and look. All right, so this is Life Unit. It's 10.5 minutes. I will be back in 10.5 minutes. So, a couple things about this album too. So, the first thing you'll notice, this is the first album where there's not an intro. There's no orchestral intro, no English horns or French horns making the foghorn sounds. Um, all of these were already recorded and ready to go, and I didn't have an intro recorded yet, and I couldn't start one that sounded like it would fit, because if you listen to the intros on the other albums, the intro is based off the song that comes after it. So, and on the Whilst Rooted in Obscurity, the intro to that is based off the chord structure, which is Dying in the Sacred Grove of Nerthus. So if you listen to the intro, you know what the next song is going to sound like. This one, I just couldn't get anything that sounded like it was going to work, and I had already sat on this album for what, 4 years, 4 years. So I was like, no, I wouldn't mind. I'll just put it out. I won't worry about it. I'll just put it out, and it'll just be one without it. And then the second thing, if you're a musician, you probably heard this, but if you're not a musician, there's no bass guitar whatsoever on this entire album, or the next EP, or the next album. Because, like I said, I'd been sitting on these completed musically since 2020, since COVID hit, and everything was recorded except for the bass and the vocals. And then shit hit the fan, and I ended up moving up here, and I just could not get myself to put the bass on it. And I have issues when it comes to mixing and mastering because I'm self-taught, and I have issues with doing the bass, and I don't want it to sound muddy. There's a band called Crimson Glory, nothing like my music. Their album, the first album I bought of theirs was called Transcendence, and the the guy who sang Midnight, his voice was just so incredible. They broke up. Midnight passed away. They put out Transcendence. It was an awesome album. They had the Phantom of the Opera masks that they wore, and then the next album that came out was all like Bon Jovi sounding. They lost their uniqueness, and then they split up. And then years later, they got back together, and Midnight had passed away, I think, and they put out an album called Astronomica. And the bass tone on that album is what I want every album I put out the bass tone to be on. I have no idea how he got it. I have no idea how he made it sound that way. So on this one, rather than going back after 4 years of all this music just sitting and coming up with bass lines for it, I was like, you know what? I'm just not going to put a bass line on it. So you just heard an entire album with no bass. And then you're going to hear an EP next with no bass, and you're going to hear another album with no bass. And like I said, the album cover on this one was AI generated. The album cover on the next one is AI generated. And the album cover on the next one is AI generated. So this is a Darkened Shadow, and you'll see there's no intro on this one either. Oh no, wait, there is an intro. Darkened Shadow is the intro. And then the song Invictus, which is 20 minutes and 20 seconds long. So, yeah. So Darkened Shadow is a line from Invictus. Yeah, it's the first line. So what's funny about this is with doing this in Fog Warrior. So this is what I find kind of hilarious to me, anyway. Probably not to anybody else, but to me. The He said, moving his chair and squeaking all over. The this, do I have goddamn chair? So the lyrics for this were written. I didn't write them down. The lyrics for this were written back in the '90s, and I actually have a thrash guitar line that was written for this. It's super fast. It's and the original pattern that this was supposed to go was a darkened shadow lies over my future, grasping for light. I grab on the air, reaching out blindly, watching for any sign, screaming with shortened breath, aside as the world goes by. No one is invincible. We all will die. A name may live on forever, but down below the body lies. Fear is nothing but an illusion building inside your mind. And it was all thrash, and it was all super fast, chugging. Pardon my coughing. And the part down here where it says feeding, building, consuming, conquer, the guitar line was just a string bend. Dun, 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 dun. So what it turned into is freaking crazy because that's nothing. And most of the lyrics that you see on here, except for Dying in the Sacred Grove of Nerthus, were written to be thrash songs back in the day. Because I wasn't doing hyperpicking black metal when I first wrote them, I was more into King Diamond, Merciful Fate, and more thrash sounding stuff, and I was getting into the more obscure stuff. And when I first heard Celtic Frost, I was like, wait, I can write music like that? Because before that, being a teenager, I thought I had to follow all the rules and everything. And then hearing King Diamond singing what he was singing was freaking awesome. And what was hilarious was that I was a satanical or a theoretical Satanist before I heard King Diamond Merciful Fate. So I was like, wait, somebody else is doing this and they're making music about it? Are you serious? So I've always found that kind of funny. That music didn't make me a Satanist. I was a Satanist that found the music. So let's listen to A Darkened Shadow. This one's short. It's only 3 minutes. And then we'll come back and we'll go into Invictus after that. So that was a little unexpected. I forgot that. I was expecting to be orchestral, and I was like, how am I going to do something in 3 minutes? Well, that's how I'm going to do something in 3 minutes. So this track, Invictus, so this has a little bit of a story. So when I was younger, I wasn't a teenager anymore. I might have been 19, but I was out of school. I graduated from high school 6 months early. I took my test and got out. And I was watching what back in the day when there was no cable and there was still three televisions. Well, I think cable had just come out. They used to do ABC or CBS or NBC. One of them used to do after school specials. And I watched one, and it was about a kid who had done away with himself. And the last thing he wrote on the letter he left was Invictus, which is Latin for invincible. And that stuck with me that he had done that and left that as the last thing he wrote. And so years later, when I was doing, and this will all come out in the podcast, when I was doing Evil Existence with Mike, and I needed a drum set, so he thought this guy Terry would let me use his drum set, which nobody ever does that. I don't know why he thought that. Actually, I do know why he thought that, but that'll be in the podcast. I went over to Terry's house, saw his drum set. He was playing with a band that they had gotten together for a talent show. And when I go over this in the podcast, you'll hear all the interesting stuff that came out of that first visit. But I ended up forming a thrash band with Terry, the bass player from that band, Dennis Debo. Debo was his nickname. Terry's nickname was Aminal. And then Jason McCoyne, who was the guitarist. Oh man, do I have a lot of stories about Jason back then. So I went to like the second or third practice with them, and I had a paper that had like 50 or 60 different band names that I had brainstormed over the years. Some of them were good, some of them were cheesy. So I get there and I'm like, well, I got this list of band names, so if you hear anything you like, let me know. And they're like, okay. And I go, okay, so the first one is Invictus. I mean, what the heck does that mean? I go, it's Latin for invincible. And then I told them the story of what I saw. And they go, that's the one. We're taking that one. And I was like, but I got like 60 more. Nope, we took the first one. So when I wrote this, this was like a stream of consciousness thing. There was not something that I sat down to write. It just came out of my head. It's like I tell people, my brain puked it out, and I just wrote it on the paper. And just titled it Invictus. Wow, I didn't realize that. Music for Darkened Shadow started in 2019 and finished in 2023. I didn't realize that music was unfinished. So this one's 20 minutes and 20 seconds long, so we'll listen to this and I'll be back in 20 minutes. All right, so another one that ends kind of abruptly. All right, so that's the Dark and Shadow EP, which is one of the shorter ones. Um, the only one left is Ruined, and so I'm going to stop the stream here. Part 3, I'll go over Ruined. I'll probably do the Evil Trump Gets His Pelin as Aaron Azanomus, and then I'm going to go over other stuff that I did with some of this music. So I'm going to end this here so I can eat. And then I will see everybody next time. If you want, this is moving over. Once it's done with the stream, it'll be on the Tolnor's YouTube channel. Later, everybody.